And so it was fun that it came up like on the cell phone.
Shredded and already ready to doesn't sound like it. Just a little, just a little. Yeah, but there's so many different styles. Like some like fried all around the floor, and others are hash brown.
What do we,
So I figured that maybe somebody whose office was calling shredded and fried. So we worked out the closing schedules next week. So that's what I did. And the funny part was, I was an Albany real estate course. So he sent voicemail. The voicemail would transcribe some of it, but not all of it. And I saw Alan and the agent's name were working the same spelling that way.
It's been a couple, a month or two.
Yeah, they went on.
what style?
I know, so it was so funny because I was just telling Beth that. So your number came up as a I'm having a closing on property next Friday, and agents are offices in Norwich, and they are on vacation on a cruise. So I thought maybe somebody from his office was calling me because the attorneys scheduled the closing. So I figured there was something about that. And the other really funny part was, so it transcribes. I was reading the transcription, but only transcribes some of the messages. It doesn't get everything on there. No. It said something about Alan, and the agent I'm working with, his name is Alan. Same spelling. Same spelling.
So your phone showed up as Norwich,
Yeah.
which is weird.
Yeah.
Wasn't in,
Yeah. Well, 608, it's your exchange on there. So it's whatever your three numbers are on there.
It's weird. Wow. Yeah, it's cool.
So fun. It's noise makers.
It is fun. When did you start singing? You've been liking it better. Sing it. Have an instrument? Come on, Bill. Take one. Take one. You're not taking away. Need a lot of people.
be here and enjoy the sweetness, even in the midst of, as the nights are getting darker and darker, there's so much light here in this space, and there's so much warmth when we all come together. So let's turn to page 2 in our Siddur, all the way back to page 2, and let's read together. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are longing for fellowship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold not be a stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. Page 4, for the lighting and blessing of the Shabbat candles, it is an honor to invite up Maxine and David to lead us in candling.
No.
I did it.
God, you gave us the Torah to show that you love us. May it always be a friend at our side. The Torah is our teacher. It tells us what is right and what is wrong. It shows us how to live good lives. Be with us always when we study Torah. Be with us always as we try to live good lives. We praise you, eternal God, who gave the Jewish people the Torah. It is your special gift to us. It is the gift of your love. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And now you can turn to page 34, which is the big yellow page with that beautiful shin for Shema. Hanukkah. And I just want to encourage you to take a look at this beautiful mem, the Hebrew letter mem, that's on the opposite page. All these musical notes and all the little images that are inside. Because they're interesting to ponder the different symbols and enjoy them. And as we sing about freedom and redemption. This comes from where, actually? Do you know where in the Torah this comes from?
Exodus?
Exodus, yes.
When they're getting ready to cross the river.
Yes, exactly. When they're actually
I
just
thought
reaching.
it was when they get to the other side.
Yes.
Successfully.
They've successfully made it. They did not count their freedom before it hatched. And so they get to the other side of the shore and they sing this song of the sea. And Michal is part of it. So there's a really interesting kind of controversial notion in it. And I was just speaking to a bat mitzvah student about it this past week because this happens to be her Torah portion. And I said, take a look at that first line, Michal. And it's often translated, at least it was in Gates of Prayer, before we had Mishkan Tefillah. I don't remember off the top of my head how it was translated in Mishkan Tefillah. Michamocha ba'elim Adonai. Does anybody know how that's translated? Michamocha, who is like you, ba'elim, amongst all the gods. And the Song of the Sea is considered one of the oldest texts in the Torah. Bless you. And there are other parts of the Torah, bless you, that are, and I forget the official words for this, there's two different theologies that are very similar and overlap in the Torah. One is Adonai is our God and happens to be the best out of all these other gods. The other is Adonai is the only God and there is no other God, period. Anyone else is a false God. Michamocha seems to come from the mindset that there are lots of gods, we just happen to have like the best one, right? Go team Adonai. But so it's very interesting to think. What do you think if we say who is like you amongst the other gods? What's that? What's the difference for you between the two? Is there one you're more comfortable with than the other? Saying there are many gods and we just happen to have the best, or there is only one God and it's Adonai. So any thoughts on it? It's a big theological question. I figured it's a pretty awesome group here tonight. You might be open to thinking about it. Yeah.
Well, it could be situational too.
Okay.
That the reference is really because they've escaped from Egypt where there are multiple gods. So it doesn't necessarily negate, that phrasing doesn't necessarily negate the concept of our God is Adonai, the one and only. That it's that in comparison to where we just escaped from, he is the only one Adam. All the others that we left behind in Egypt.
Nice analysis. So knowing Egyptian mythology and God structure, and the fact that they have so many gods, interesting to say, maybe it's a comparison to what we are leaving. Interestingly, we have a lot of other evidence of there being this idea that there are other gods that Adonai keeps trying to show up. And so, yes, it's an awesome idea. And we have also other places where this idea comes forth, but also places where God is the one and only. So other thoughts? What does it bring up for you? What are some of the ideas?
Well,
Yeah, Tracy.
just as somebody who was brought up Jewish,
Mhm.
just thinking, like, I wouldn't think about other gods. I was brought up from, there are no other gods, but as a now sort of adult, like, liberal socialist Jew, I feel like, of course, everybody can, maybe there are other gods, and who am I to say?
Relativist.
Who am I to say?
And if there are, is that a crisis of faith for us? Right? As monotheists.
Right.
Is that a crisis?
I think it would have to be.
Okay, so why?
Because our whole belief is structured around the idea that there is only one God, and it is Adonai. So if suddenly there are other ones,
Right.
it throws everything into a little bit of confusion.
Right.
I said,
What?
hey, weird.
It's weird.
It's weird.
I saw Santa yesterday.
You saw Santa yesterday? Luckily, Santa's not amongst the gods. Though he may want to be. I also sound so, other thoughts on this? It's troubling. It's a really, and that's why Mika Mocha is a really, it's translated as who is like you amongst the celestials, right? So Gates of Prayer translated it to get away from the issue so that nobody would ask. But the translation is who is like you amongst all the other gods. Well, we can still like it. It's okay. But it's interesting to think about. Yeah,
So maybe the other gods are not necessarily Jewish. So this one
Uh-huh.
is our God.
Uh-huh. So you want to hear what the bat mitzvah student came up with? Because her idea was actually quite interesting. She kind of came up with a hybrid of the two that I thought was brilliant. And she said, it can be both, in that it is still just one God. And we all just have different names for that God. And God maybe even shows God's self in different ways to different peoples. So it may seem like there are many gods, because maybe that people needs to have it shown that way, but it's still just Adonai.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
That's kind of cool, right? I agree. So I thought that was it's a pretty
Hey, we
brilliant
have our own
reconciliation.
God.
We have our own,
We have our own God.
we do, we have our own God, but maybe we are really all sharing the one God. We just have different ways, like spokes on a wheel, of approaching the same God. So, thanks for pondering deep theological questions. This has been Theology Hour with Rabbi Gallows. Let's turn to page 45. Actually, let's do it on 44. Vishamru. Please rise. Shalom. So how's everybody doing today? We're glad you're back too. We're glad you're feeling better. Let's take a moment in our service to offer a prayer of healing, of peacefulness, of calm and comfort to those in our lives who we know tonight are in pain, are suffering, are ill, those who are struggling to return to a feeling of wellness and of shlemut, of peacefulness. And let's just send them love with our hearts and hope that they know and feel how much they are surrounded by blessing and by our holy prayers for them. This Shabbat we are thinking especially and sending our healing prayers to Reagan Konecki, John Nicola, Nancy Schwam, Miriam Swidler, Larry Mancini, Charles Sabat, Burl Bellows, Carrie Bellows, Iris Clark, Stacy Reed, Debbie Clymer, Daphne Rosenberg, Joyce Giuseppe, Savannah Johnson, Lenore Lesser, Jimmy Brogno, Donald Hoffman, Denise Davies, Benzion Venbera-Lucia, Ruben Starkman, Jerry Kelly, Harvey Goldstein, and Cole and Levi Koska. Who else are you thinking about tonight and sending healing prayers to? These are people who we are sending get well wishes to.
Oh, but they're not here tonight.
Because they're not here.
Marie Vespas, Aubrey Birkinshaw, Shula, Kurt Bernstein, and Mark Brudenfeld. Little Pensacola.
Mark was the list.
Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'Imotenu Sarah v'Rivka le'Avrachel v'Yivarech v'Yirapeh Kol HaCholim HaEleh. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and Sarah and Rebecca and Rachel and Leo. We hope so. May God bless all of our loved ones and help them to return to a feeling of healing of mind and of body and of spirit. Baruch atah Adonai Rafeh Chalim. We praise you, God, who cares about the sick. And let us say together. Amen.
We find out that tonight is the first day of Hanukkah.
So it's not Hanukkah yet. I'm wearing a I'm glad you brought it up. I am wearing a Hanukkah on my very warm and fuzzy shirt because I had the privilege of taking part in the Chester tree and menorah lighting. And while it is not yet Christmas, nor is it Hanukkah.
And I do like that video that they bought.
Yes, we don't yet have a huge menorah, but we did have an electrical one of mine that we plugged in very ceremoniously. Both, what?
Where did you plug it in?
Where the tree was plugged in. Yes, it's actually a beautiful ecumenical moment of sharing the same extension Your electricity is ours. We are hoping, we have been told that we have a congregant who has offered to build us a large one for the town next year. So we hope to have that, and hopefully that'll be really lovely. But I think it's really special that, and also Meg Gister, who's of course our wonderful choir director, is also the music teacher at the elementary school, and she had the kids do equal amounts of Christmas music and Hanukkah music this year, and that was really terrific. So it was wonderful to be there.
Is she here?
She's not here tonight.
She will be.
She was in town, so she's probably still there. So let's also, coming back around now, offer a prayer of gratitude for those in our lives who have experienced healing, who have experienced the joy of recovery from illness or injury, those who have traveled far away and have come back home safely, and those who have escaped danger in any way. Thank you. And let's all keep those who have experienced those wonderful miracles in in mind as we praise God for allowing those good things to happen in the world around us. So let us all sit together. And let's also, do we have any December birthdays here, by the way? Birthdays? Wow. September, excellent. Well, happy belated birthday. What other smachot, what other happy occasions do you have going on in your lives? Any other anniversaries, accomplishments, celebrations?
I know I go to a wedding, I'm very excited for
You have a wedding coming up in your family?
my friend.
Well, mazel tov. Have a great time.
Very cool.
What else is going on in people's
I
lives?
get excited.
Otherwise, I
This
guess
is
it's
a
quiet.
good one. Come on, guys.
David, some kind of shrug around. And it's all right.
We got the band back together.
We got the band.
But there's dissension
My
among
friend
the
put
names.
me on board.
All right, sit down. All right.
Melissa and her husband Josh are finally going on their honeymoon.
Oh,
His wife.
wonderful.
We gave them the soup. We gave them the
Roger.
Guys, actually, David, we're taking men's care.
I should start a company. That's wonderful, and please wish them and Missy Azula a safe and wonderful trip, and can't wait to hear this and see pictures.
Hey, I think. The more than one day, how cool is that?
Someone else named Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah. David is pretty popular.
I'm one of the happy team.
Oh, yes. So, I would love to share that this coming week is the URJ Biennial, which is a magical experience. It's, of course, the every other year gathering, hence biennial, of the Reform movement. It's clergy, it's other Jewish professionals, it's congregants coming together, 6,000 Jews in one place, learning together. It's a lot of Jews. Yeah,
Hey, teacher,
believe it or not.
baby, crying.
There are more than 6,000, but you get 6,000 in one place, and we all get to pray together, and it's just wonderful, and everyone is always welcome. So if you obviously are not able to make it this time, in 2 years again, I believe the next one is back in Orlando. This one is in Chicago. So I get to spend a little time with my parents, which will be really nice, just to give them a hug and a kiss, and then return to Biennial. And so it really is an incredible experience, and those of us who have a chance to go learn so much. Do you want to share anything about your experience last time? Other than the fact that we were the superstars of Biennial.
The last time Rabbi and I did a seminar, yes.
Yeah,
In
we were on
Boston.
panel
In
in Boston, yeah, because we
We
were
had a huge-
such a great example of a president-rabbi partnership that they wanted us to like
2
keep.
years that we had, like, how many, 15 people?
Yeah, so close.
It was a big contingent.
Yeah, always when it's in driving distance, it's always better than, so yeah, we had 15, 16 people probably. What stood out for you at Biennial?
Elizabeth Warren spoke.
Yeah, I still have to listen to all that she talked about.
Ricky, you could bring your
Yeah,
back.
so that was good. Yeah, and it is sort of awesome to see everybody singing together.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Friday
Service.
service was, yeah, in an auditorium, where you're used to size of rock concert.
Right.
Yeah.
You sort of feel like, oh, yeah, we have a mega church too.
It's all gotta get together.
Yeah, I have a church near my camp.
Oh.
The day was fun. It's very nuts.
Well, so, and this is a big gathering of Jews, and it really is very special. So if anyone would like more information or to attend in the future year, please let me
I
know.
had heard this weekend.
That'll be okay, we'll miss you.
And I thank you.
So I would like to tell a story. Would that be all right? Sure. I'm going to need volunteers who would like to come. You won't really have to say anything. You just need to kind of go wherever you go. Tracy? And Maxine, excellent. You leave
I
yourself on
started
your
to see
chairs.
move forward. All of ours.
You'll recognize story of sisters long ago
Aw.
who lived in Jerusalem. Now first, there was Tracy, who had an enormous family. She was married with 12 children and had her farm, which she was very, very proud of. And she was so excited that right next to her farm was her sister's farm. Now her sister, Maxine, was a very proud bachelorette. And she maintained her farm all on her own. Sorry, David, just a story.
That's fine.
And you don't have 12 kids, it's going to be okay. And they loved each other, they ate together often, and they maintained their farms. Well, the time for the wheat harvest came. And both sisters were preparing to harvest their bountiful harvest. And so they were getting ready. And then nightfall came on that first night of the harvest. And Tracy was laying in bed, getting ready to go to sleep. Thank you. That was brilliant improvisation. I believe you were sleeping. And she thought to herself, you know, I have all my children helping me with the harvest, so many people, and I have just so much in my barn already. And Maxine is over there doing this whole thing on her own. I'm going to sneak over there tonight. And I'm going to bring her some of my harvest. So Tracy climbs out of bed, goes to get some of her wheat to bring over to Maxine in the darkness of the night. Okay, so she goes over very slowly because it's very heavy, very dark. And she drops it in Maxine's barn. And then she goes back and she falls asleep. Now, just a few moments later, Maxine is laying in bed, also troubled. I have such beautiful, she says out loud to herself. And she thinks to herself, you know, I have this wonderful harvest, and I'm providing for myself, but I have so much left over, and my poor sister Tracy is feeding so many mouths. So you know what, I'm going to sneak over there tonight, and I'm going to bring her some of my leftover harvest. And so Maxine decides to climb out of bed. She goes to her barn. She grabs some of her wheat harvest. And she goes over to place it in Tracy's barn. This is wonderful. I see the stalks. And then she comes home and she goes to sleep. So the next morning, you can imagine their surprise when they each wake up, they go to their barns, and they realize that their piles are exactly as big as they had been before. How strange! Did they imagine that they had done, that they walked to each other's barns and dropped the wheat? So the next night, as they're lying in bed, they think to themselves, you know what? That must have been a weird fluke. I'm going to try it again. So first, Tracy gets up. She goes to her barn. She picks up some of her harvest. She goes over to Maxine's barn. She drops it off. And she goes back and she goes and falls asleep with her spouse and her 12 children. It's loud, but they eventually fall asleep. Then Maxine also says, you know what, I'm going to try this again. She wakes up and she goes to her barn and she picks up some of her harvest, brings it over to Tracy's barn, leaves it in the barn, goes back to sleep. And they think, aha, okay, now this time, we figured it out. We've been able to generously give to each other. They don't know, of course, they can give each other. But of course, they wake up in the morning, they go out to their barns, and oh my goodness gracious, the pile is so backwards. So that night, they decide to try one more time. But of course, this time, their timing happens to be just a little different. They both go to their barns to pick up their wheat, to bring to the other's barn. And as they are getting to the middle, lo and behold, oh my goodness! They run into each other. And all of a sudden they realize what's been happening each and every night. They drop their harvest, they give each other a big hug, and they realize how much they have been loving and caring for each other every step of the way. Jerusalem was built, and that God's presence is most apparent and accessible for us because there is such true love and care in that spot. So thank you all for helping me tell that story. Who's heard the story before?
I did.
No, you haven't heard that story before? Oh, it's wonderful.
How about right though?
We'll do yours next Saturday. So thank you for helping me tell that story. It is a true classic, and it is one of the midrashim that the rabbis used to explain what makes the place where the temple stands so holy, is that there was this beautiful love and care between two family members. So thank you so much. Yes, John?
Who was this? Or were they?
It was brothers in the original story. It was going to depend on who my volunteers were.
Who was brothers?
They had names like Joseph and Shmuel or something. It's not specific people. It was more the idea, and the story is usually called something like Brotherly Love, or this place of brotherly love. And it's a real traditional, like, Jewish folklore story. So, yeah. But these are the sisters. I mean, I've never seen a performance like that. So this is the spot. So, any other questions or thoughts about the story?
Any nominations for any?
Nomination for best Tracy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Tracy Clark. Okay, so
Then I could get back in Franklin with us too.
for your bar mitzvah, we can get you an award.
No, they did that.
They did that story?
Yeah.
Oh, how nice.
And then I found out my brother was in it too.
Your brother was in it too? Wonderful. Thank
And
you.
my sister.
So, announcements. This Sunday is a really busy and wonderful Sunday, and you're welcome to come join us for the multiple events that are taking place. At 9:30 is the next session of the Rabbi's Book Club, in which we are studying the book Moral Resistance and Spiritual Authority, which is just so wonderful, and it's all about what is our obligation as Jews to fight for social justice and to act towards making the world more just. And this is our third session, but even if you haven't had a chance to come already, I do encourage you to come and join in the conversation. That's at 9:30. Then at 10:30 is our Books and Bagels event with our very own Michael Ross, of course, who's the Wesleyan University president, to speak about his book, Safe Enough Spaces, which sounds like it's a really interesting look at what can help a college campus be a safe space to be and to talk, but also to allow different voices to come forward.
I know that.
Then, next Friday, December 13th, we have a lay-led Shabbat service because of biennial. Do we know who it's going to be? Do we know who it's going to be? I think it's going to be David Tillis, who always leads such a wonderful service, so that's next Friday night, 7:30. There is no second Saturday service next weekend, again, due to biennial. Then Monday, December 16th, from 12:45 p.m. to 6 p.m. is our next blood drive, our congregational blood drive. You are all welcome to come and do really the ultimate mitzvah, which is pikuach nefesh, the saving of a life, and it's such a wonderful way to do so. And reservations are always taken in, you can walk in. Then Friday night, the 20th, at 7:30 p.m. is our observance of Human Rights Shabbat, something we do each and every year. This year, we are going to be joined by Deb Shapiro, who works at the Middletown Historical Society and has been going around and speaking about Connecticut's role in the slavery that took place and was brought to this country 400 years ago this year. We like to think that Connecticut was not involved, but it very much was in a few very significant and unfortunate ways. And so she'll be with us to help us mark that history, commemorate it, and also continue to vow to make the world a better place for everybody. The following Friday night, the 27th, is our Shabbat Hanukkah celebration and party. That will be beginning at 6 p.m. Right? 6 o'clock p.m. either a meat entree or a side to share. We will have brisket from Al Forno, from our wonderful Bob Zemmel, and latkes from our Lockapalooza taking place that afternoon, which Maxine is heading up. Do you want to say anything about that?
Great luck. If you want to help make latkes, maybe have a little laughter. At 3 o'clock.
Do you prefer people to bring their own batter?
Yeah.
So it's a big cooking party?
Yes, it's a cooking party. I mean, you only have so many burners on the stove, but everybody should bring their batter, and then we just cook for a few hours and make all the latkes. So we have the latke for dinner, and then we have the latke for the oven.
So it really is a Lockapalooza. So thank you for doing that, and if you're interested in helping and joining in, speak to Maxine. And then, so again, the dinner begins at 6 o'clock, and then we have our big congregational menorah lighting. It's the 6th night, so please bring 7 candles. We'll have tables lining the sanctuary where we'll all light together. It'll be so beautiful and magnificent. And we will have a celebratory service, followed by an oneg with the Puppet Spielers.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Is that like when Jefferson Airplane became Airplane and then Starship? Okay. Soon it'll just be Fluff.
CSNY and CSN.
Okay. So, and finally, thank you to Maxine and David for sponsoring tonight's oneg in memory of Maxine's father and stepmother, Leonard and Florence Klein. Thank you so much. Any other announcements that we missed? So let's turn to our concluding prayers in our Sidurim. Aleinu can be found on page 130. Please rise. This allows us to recognize your loss and offer you comfort, and then we will all rise to join you for the recitation of the Mourner's Kaddish. This Shabbat, we mark the recent passing of Nan Krashevsky and Marcia Myers. We mark the Yortzites, the anniversaries of death for Jack Banner, Dora Fink, Barry Gilman, Helen Gilman, Richard Hayes, Paul Jaffe, Florence Klein, Leonard Klein, Abraham Collins, my aunt Elise Krzyzlowski, Vivian Ladies, Luba Peck Rubin, Sonia Schulman, Morris Siegel, Samuel L. Solins, Saul Stolowy, and Dora Zelvin. Zichronan Livracha. Is anyone else marking a Shiva Shloshim Yortzeit? Or is it in the first year of mourning for somebody?
Edgerton.
Thank you. David, did you want to share a name?
Yeah, my grandma passed away.
I'm sorry, my condolences. Thank you. May all of their memories always be for a blessing. Together now we rise and we join in the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal, Yit Kadash, Shnei Rabah, V'Alman Yirat Yeruteh, Yamich Malchuteh, V'Chayechon Yom Echon, V'Chayechon Beit Yisrael, V'Adalav V'Zman Kariv, Imru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabah Yivarach, L'Olam Olamei Amayim, Yitbarach V'Yishtabach V'Yitba'ar V'Yitramam V'Yitnaseh, V'Yitadar V'Yitaleh V'Yitalal Shmei V'Yishah B'Richu Le'eman Yimkol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechemata Da'amiram V'Yalma V'Yimru Amen. Yehei Shlam Rabba V'Yishemaya V'Chayim Aleinu V'Yal Yisrael V'Yimru Amen. Oseh Shalom V'Yirma U'Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Yal Yisrael V'Yimru Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world. And together we say, Amen.
Please be seated as we will close with Hamashira, which is still not in the book.
What should have? Maybe next time.
She had viewing hours, same on Saturday. Which actually, last time it was the evangelical minister. Yeah, so this time. So this